Yeah, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about how to get out of your own way as a business owner so you can grow your business faster than you ever thought possible. It's all about changing your mindset from a who, not the how of growing a business. I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that in a post that I made a couple months ago. We're going to tune over to that and check it out.
Hey guys, it's Jordan and Max. For the last 7 years, we've bootstrapped our entire lives by building online businesses, software companies, information products, and marketing agencies to survive.
Now, to see if we can take things to the next level, we've left our previous businesses to see if we have what it takes to build and maintain $1 million business without outside funding.
Follow along as we learn, share, and teach the best digital strategies being used by the best marketers and entrepreneurs in the world today.
This is Misfit Radio. Super stoked for today's episode, talking about something insanely important that I wish somebody taught me back when I was first starting startups. It's how to get out of your own way. And this happens with almost every single startup company. If you're just getting into entrepreneurship, it happens all the time with business owners. They try to do every single thing themselves. And this is detrimental to your growth, for your mental health, to people around you. In every way, it is bad, okay? So one of my favorite coaches, top 3 favorite entrepreneurs of all time, Steve Larsen, said in business, it is not important to know how to play every instrument. It is important to be the orchestrator, okay? And to understand this, you don't need to learn how to play the violin, the guitar, the cello, the jazz flute. You don't need to learn how to do all those things. You just need to understand how to orchestrate the people that are in charge of those things, okay? So you don't need to go and learn Photoshop, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Google Analytics. You don't need to learn how to do all of these things. It's really important to be able to delegate these things out to people that do love those things, okay? Now, if you love doing one of those tasks, like Facebook ads, great, work on it. But all those things that you don't love doing, don't do them. You gotta learn how to get out of your own way. And as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, don't be a bottleneck in your own business by having your pride say, I gotta do everything myself. And I think there is something to be said about going in and doing everything yourself. It kind of humbles you and puts a chip on your shoulder. And, it's good to know how to do a lot of things. But I think once you get to the growth or the scale stage of your business, you have to learn to delegate and get out of your way. Hire a team to work on the things that you don't love doing or that you're not passionate about. Because if you try to do everything yourself, you're just going to stress yourself out to an insane extent. And the quality of the things you're putting out there is going to be very, very low. And I know this from experience because I spent the last 5 years and around $250,000 making these mistakes. So, about 2 years ago now, I was in an N-Motion Accelerated program, which was a nationally recognized accelerated program. I was super excited about it. They were giving us funding. They were teaching me things that I thought I knew everything about lean startup methodology just from all the books and courses I took. But what we learned there was just so intense and world-changing. So we went through this giant crash course of business and customer validation. And, through this program, once we validated exactly, what our customers wanted or who our customers was, what they wanted, what they're willing to pay for it, and all the things that are important in any business model, the execution stage finally came. And we're like ready to hit the ground running. I was going to build a website, get our logo, build the app, build our marketing channels, write all our Facebook ads. And it was like, yeah, I'm going to learn how to do all this stuff. And, I was psyched about it because who doesn't want to know how to do a ton of things? It's just, you can just do anything. That's the feeling that you get, and I think that's why everyone kind of falls into this groove of trying to do everything themselves, because honestly it's pretty cool knowing how to do a bunch of stuff, and it's all really fascinating. But what happened was we wasted so much time on things that didn't matter. We ended up getting just stressed out of our minds because every single night when we went to bed, we didn't feel like we got a single thing done because we're working on all this internal in the weeds stuff like building a website, learning HTML, CSS, writing Facebook ads, trying to do cold call sales, all this stuff that just wasn't very, we weren't passionate about it, and those had nothing to do with our key performance indicators, which was revenue. Okay, we weren't focusing on business growth and growing our revenue. We're focusing on building all these internal things that we really weren't passionate about, and that just drove us nuts. It drove us nuts, and it ultimately led to us wasting an insane amount of time and money, and our company fizzling out because we didn't have the knowledge, or we were just too proud to delegate systems that we weren't passionate about and that were really creating a bottleneck within our company. So what ended up happening was us stressed out beyond belief. We had these weekly meetings where we had to talk about, okay, what's our progress this week? And we'd always have this giant list of like, here's all the things we got done. Because we were working like 14-hour days. Like, we were grinding, we're flown over into Nebraska, which was interesting. They gave us a bunch of money. We were just put on this pedestal of like, we have to achieve. And in these weekly meetings, we weren't hitting our KPIs because we're just stuck in the weeds on getting to a point where felt like we could focus on revenue. We're building the app, building websites, doing all this cold sales, cold walk-ins, which, oh my gosh, if you've ever did like cold walk-in sales, good for you. There's nothing more humbling than that. I'll tell you that. But we're just doing all these things that weren't getting us anywhere, and it was beyond stressful. And, we hit a wall. After the NMotion program, I think that summer, we partnered with UpDoc Media on Health Snaps and agreed to build out UpDoc marketing. So our to-do list just got so much bigger. We had all these things we had to do on top of the just endless mountain of stuff that was already on our plate. And so, honestly, I had a meltdown at one point. I remember being in the bathroom and just literally like tears coming out of my eyes because I was just like so incredibly stressed. We had all these people counting on us. They gave us money and they just told the world how great we were, and we just weren't getting anywhere. And that is just the pressure just broke me one day. And I knew I had to fix something. I had to find a way to get things off of my plate. And so I started taking some courses, reading more books, and there was one speaker that just made me realize that I'm the problem. I was the problem because I was trying to do everything at once. He said something like, the leader is almost always the biggest bottleneck within the company because they feel the need to make every single decision. They feel the need to have a hand in every single pot, when really you just need someone that you trust to be able to make those decisions so that your mind can be focused on more important things, revenue channels, and actually growing the business, not building out little internal teams and processes within the company, which there is a time for that. And obviously you have to build systems within your company, but you need to have a team around you. And what really cemented this in for me is I went and did research on companies that were doing competitors, very similar things that I was doing. And the only difference between the ones that were generating 5 figures in revenue from the 6, 7, and 8 figure companies was that they had teams. They had teams in place. They weren't solopreneurs. They were people that, they had a person for marketing. They had a person for documenting internal systems. They had copywriting teams. They had video teams. They had teams for every single thing that the main entrepreneur didn't love to work on. Okay, and that's the only difference. That's the only difference between, if you're a company that's still trying to struggle and getting going, the only difference is that you don't have a team to support you. Okay, so it's insanely important to take the tasks that you don't love doing, anything that's not a revenue generating task. As an entrepreneur, you need to find someone to do that for you. Okay, you are a hindrance to your own business if you're trying to do everything yourself. So I know because I've wasted an insane amount of time and an absurd amount of money learning this lesson myself. And I finally clicked. And as soon as I took action to fix this problem, oh boy, did my life change. It changed a lot in the best way possible. So what I what I had to do was stop doing everything myself. Put my pride aside of, I built it with my own two hands. I had to put all that aside because that is nonsense garbage. I think there's a lot to be said when you're a startup entrepreneur and you go out and do everything yourself. I think that's an incredibly important part of the process of becoming, a business person and an entrepreneur. It puts a chip on your shoulder, and you should have a little bit of knowledge in each of these departments that you're building out. But don't try to be an expert at stuff you don't care about. That's dumb. Don't do that. So I'd put my pride aside and allow other people to start, helping with this. Okay, because although I love every element of business, I like it a lot. I'm not so obsessed about it that I want to do this all day, every day. But there are people out there that do. There are people that want to do Google Analytics all day, every day. There are people about Facebook ads that just nerd out about it all day and spend their days talking about recent changes in their service agreement and stuff. You got to find those people that work on those elements of your business to do it for you, to free up your time to focus on revenue and growth generating activities. That is the only thing an entrepreneur should be focused on. Growth and revenue generating activities, because anything else is a distraction. It's important, but it's not important for you to do it. Okay, I think that's a huge problem that's taught in entrepreneurship today, that you need to figure everything out yourself. Build a team around you. That doesn't mean go and give equity. That is insane. I don't know why so many people are so eager to just give up pieces of their company, especially if they actually believe it's going to be successful one day. Instead of giving them a couple $100, you're going to give them a couple 100,000 or million. That's crazy. Don't do that. Pay them. Go to Fiverr, go to Upwork, go to freelancer.com. Find someone that loves doing whatever you need done and have them do it. As soon as I started doing this, I was beyond stressed out of my mind. I was like needed to punch stuff, stressed. I was scary to be around. It was hard to be around me. I knew it, so I just stayed away from people sometimes. But as soon as I started hiring out for all the things I don't love doing, my stress level, it was black and white. I was immediately just insanely relieved, because instead of okay, I need to go figure out how to do this thing, watch a bunch of YouTube courses and go do it, which would sometimes take me a week or 2 weeks to do, I literally just went to Upwork, typed out the job, had a couple people bid on it, make me a video, had a few conversations, had someone do it, and now every single time I need to do that thing, I just message this guy. It's done for me by the next morning. That is awesome. You know how awesome it is to go from, okay, I have to spend a week, 2 weeks doing this thing I'm not passionate about, to typing an email and then having it be done the next day? That is awesome. And, some people are like, I don't want to, go out and pay for that. It's like, what is your time worth? You kidding me? You're going to spend 2 weeks trying to figure this thing out instead of spending $100? Use your head. The amount of progress that you could do in that time, how much you could grow within that time if you were only focused on growing and revenue and working on what you love doing, which is the baby that you just created with your business, you grow so much faster. Okay, so so stress level down. I was 100 times happier than I was, because the only thing that I was working on, stuff that I love, I was creating content, figuring out new offers to create, figuring out what people wanted to learn about, and started creating content around that. That's how I had time to start creating this, this video, this podcast. Because I stopped doing the things I hated doing. I started giving that to a team. And now, you know what the result is? Now I have these people that are doing the tasks for me, and they document their process for doing it. Now I have this tangible sheet of paper of exactly how to do this task. And now when I'm ready to start scaling my business and hiring actual employees and not freelancers, now I have a document that I can give them. You know how much time that just saved? You know how many years that probably knocked off of my growth rate? It's insane once you start giving these things out so you can focus on growth, building out the processes so that when it's time to start hiring real employees, you don't have to just figure out, how to do this. You don't have to go through this awkward, what tasks can I give you, and, here's how to do it, blah, blah, blah. You have something documented that you can give them that they can start executing on right away. Okay? So if you want to grow fast, if you want to move 10 times faster, and you want to not be stressed out in entrepreneurship, get over yourself and start giving some of your tasks to freelancers. Start spending money. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you have to spend money to make money. If you want to free up the time to make real financial change in your business, you need to spend money to free up your time so you can focus on the real meat and potatoes of what entrepreneurship is. Okay, super, super important. So how do you do this? How do you figure out what to give away and what not to do? Easy. I didn't make this system up. It's called the red dot, green dot test. So every single day, create a huge list of absolutely everything that needs to get done. Everything. Just throw it out, get it out of your head on paper. Okay? And take a big green marker to the big circle next to every single revenue generating activity on that sheet. Okay? Every single thing that generates revenue, like building a relationship with someone that could send traffic to your website one day, a new offer creation, funnel hacking, figure out, how are your competitors, selling this? How can we improve our system? Anything that generates revenue. I'm not talking like, okay, this person pays for marketing services every month. I'm going to work on their ad account because they pay me. That's not new revenue generating activities. I'm talking about new revenue generating activities. Okay, so big green dot next to those. Everything else, put a big red dot next to. Everything that's not a revenue generating activity that you don't love to do, put a big red dot next to it. Don't do that thing. Don't do anything with a red dot next to it. Those are freelancer things. Those are $10 to $15 an hour activities, not whatever you're worth. If you're an entrepreneur, your hourly rate should be way higher than that. Don't do $10 an hour activities. That's the key. If you want to grow really fast to make serious money, you got to not do the $10 to $15 an hour work. Have someone else do it, okay? And you got to find a way that you can, pull money in and then use that money to fund your business. There's all sorts of different ways to get funding to do this. And if you're just starting out, join one of these freelancer sites that I was telling you about. Join Fiverr, join Upwork, join freelancer.com. What is it that you do love to do? Maybe you love graphic design, okay? Go and do that thing for someone for a little while. Make a couple $100, use that money to give it to someone else, okay? There's a lot of different ways to make money to hire freelancers. There's no excuse for not doing it. You're not an exception. Anything that's in your head, there's like, well, this doesn't really work for my scenario. That is a lie. You are lying to yourself. Okay, there's always a way to make money to fund freelancers and build the teams out that you need to get things done. People will do work, insanely good work, for less than $10 an hour. You can hire freelancers from all over the world. There's some places that I would avoid. There's some really, really good ones. I'm not going to give away my secrets because then you're stealing from my pool of freelancers. I need them working on my stuff. But do your research. Dig into these people. Find someone that knows their stuff, that has a high rating, that's done a lot of it before, and hire them. A lot of these people that do work for $10 an hour, they have an entire team behind them. Okay? If you don't want to do your Google ads, you can find an entire agency that'll do them for less than $10 an hour, and they'll do them well. Okay? You just have to do your research, do testing, have people compete against each other for the spot. Find a way to delegate it, because once you can get to the point where you only work on the things that you love, that's when entrepreneurship's fun. Up until that point, I don't want to say it's not fun because it's the favorite thing in the world. I wouldn't trade any of this forever for anything, but it is a lot less fun when you have to do everything. When you have to work on stuff you hate. I hate HTML and CSS. I hated building websites. That sucks. I hate writing copy. I'm not that great at it, but for the longest time, I paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for courses to learn how to do it. But then, then I just realized that I could hire someone that does it professionally to get it done in a day for like $50 instead of me trying to, write, rewrite, and end up with something that's mediocre that took me a week to do. It just doesn't make sense. So start delegating anything that you don't like doing to somebody else so you can focus on what really matters.
All right, so hopefully you understand by now, it's all about asking the who, not the how. As business owners, it is way too easy to get bogged down by trying to do absolutely everything yourself. After all, it feels really good knowing that you built something with your own two hands and watch it be successful. But unfortunately, more times than not, is just going to inhibit your ability to get things done, slow you down, and cause you immense amount of stress. So it's all about delegation, finding the things that you don't love doing, the things that you're not passionate about, and delegating those things out. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, reach out in the comments, reach out in our private messages. We love talking about this stuff, and we'd love to help you figure out how you can delegate out the things that aren't making you money and are sucking up your time. Thanks, guys.